Hi, this is Malaika, Water Wheel Creations, doing what I love and loving what I do. I'm back today with 9 folk tales, publication by the Ministry of Education, Trinidad and Tobago in 1968. This book is out of print. You can't get this in any store anywhere, so you're gonna have to listen to me read the story. Today's story is actually CompereTigercat Changes His Tune. I hope you enjoy this. CompereTigercat was in a terrible rage. He growled and roared and threw himself against huge rocks and stout trees, shaking them to their very foundations. With one powerful sweep of his paw, he sent a strong plantain tree flying in the wind. He held a plum tree by its trunk and shook until green and ripe plums were shot in all directions. Goodness, he was angry. When he opened his mouth and showed his sharply pointed teeth, it looked like a huge red cavern filled with fire. He went, while everyone around held his breath and waited, trembling. He held a stout stick and, breaking it in two with a loud snap, he shouted, "Just like this, I'll break Compere Rabbit's neck." He took hold of a small tree, rooted it up, spun it around and around above his head, and threw it further than the eye could see. "I'll do this to that miserable rabbit too. I'll throw." Everyone was awed and frightened. They quaked in their boots at CompereTigercat's anger. They knew that he was angry with Compere Rabbit, and they also knew why. They sympathized with him. Compere Rabbit was always playing tricks on people, and more often than not, he would play his tricks on the Tiger Cat. CompereTigercat had taken a lot. He had been angry and upset, but still he hadn't done anything about it. But when Compere Rabbit tied him to a tree and beat him with a long vine just so that he could collect some of his tears in a calabash, that was too much. CompereTigercat was the first to admit that perhaps he was a bit too simple and he believed too much of what Rabbit told him. But after all, Rabbit had said he had a message from the old magician in the forest, that there was a strong wind coming and that all big beasts would let themselves be tied to trees. CompereTigercat had allowed Compere Rabbit to tie him to the tree so that he would not be blown away by the storm. But it wasn't until the next day, when CompereTigercat was boasting to everyone that he had escaped the storm, that he realized that there had been no storm. "There was no storm yesterday, CompereTigercat," said the agouti. "You must have dreamt that. Yesterday was a beautiful sunny day with just a gentle breeze blowing," said Compere Boa Constructor. Then it was that CompereTigercat knew he had been tricked. No one had heard or felt of the storm. He walked about, asking everybody, but they all gave the same answer. Storm? Yesterday? But that was a beautiful, calm day. The more people he spoke to, the angrier CompereTigercat became until he was in a wild and raging fury. The animals talked about the matter among themselves, and gradually the news spread. Some said, CompereTigercat is looking for Compere Rabbit to kill him. Others said, CompereTigercat is waiting to break Compere Rabbit's bones with a stick. He's waiting to tear Compere Rabbit in two. He's going to boil him. He's going to eat him. He's going to make rabbit stew. Naturally, all these whisperings came to the ears of Compere Rabbit. First, someone told him how angry CompereTigercat was. The next person told him how CompereTigercat wanted to boil him in oil. "You have to catch me first," Compere Rabbit said. But when he got the third bit of news, Rabbit began to worry. When he heard all the strong, difficult things CompereTigercat had done in his anger, he didn't laugh anymore. This was a different tiger cat. He would really have to do something about it. But what? He thought, and at last, it came to him. Magic. CompereTigercat was afraid of magic. He also believed that magic could do anything. He went out and hunted in the fields until he found a rotten goat skin. The skin was old and full of holes. It was worn, eaten, and moldy, and great patches of hair had fallen off it. Compere Rabbit donned the skin carefully until no part of him was showing. Then, taking a stick to lean on, he walked painfully on until he came to CompereTigercat's home. Here he groaned and moaned loudly as though he was about to die. "Oh, I'm dying. I'm dying," he moaned. "Save me. Save me. Have mercy." CompereTigercat heard the moaning and came out of his home. "What's all this noise about?" "Compere Goat," he asked. "Say, what's all this noise about, Compere Goat?" he asked. "Say, what has happened to you? You look terrible." "Compere Rabbit?" Goat moaned. "Compere Rabbit?" "That rabbit is up to his tricks again, eh?" said Tiger Cat. "I'll get him, I bet you. I'm going to kill him any day now. Kill him! CompereTigercat?" Goat replied, "That's not possible. Compere Rabbit deals in magic. Look, he didn't beat me or poison me or anything. He just looked at me. We had an argument. I said one thing and he said another. There was a small quarrel, nothing very much, and suddenly Rabbit looked at me. He looked at me hard, frowning. His eyes grew smaller and smaller and brighter until a yellow light was blazing out of them. Then he smiled. And I, CompereTigercat, I just withered. My flesh fell off my bones and tufts of my hair fell off. My skin went green with mold and thin. Is how I am now, CompereTigercat. I'm going to die. I am going to die." CompereTigercat remained with his mouth open. Never had he heard something as terrible as this. "Compere Rabbit?" he said. "Why? He doesn't know anything about magic." "That's what you think, Tiger Cat," said the make-believe goat. "I refuse to believe it," shouted Tiger Cat, and slammed the door of his house in Goat's face. But slamming the door didn't make him forget what he had heard, and he kept thinking about it for the rest of that day and all of the next. When Compere Rabbit had left Tiger Cat's home, he went home quickly, hid the goat's skin, washed himself, and put on clean clothes. He waited, but nothing happened. Next day, he went into the woods and found a rotten dead skin. This skin was even worse than the goat's. There were deep black furrows all over it, and hardly any hair at all. Again, he put it on carefully so that no one could make him out underneath it. And this time he crawled and dragged himself, groaning all the while to CompereTigercat's house. Compere Rabbit leaned himself up against the wall and wailed loudly. Help me, CompereTigercat. Help me. You're the only person who can handle Compare Rabbit. Help me. CompereTigercat came out of his house. What happened to you, Compare there? I'm being killed by Compare Rabbit, Tiger Cat. He has done this terrible thing to me. How did he do this to you? Tiger Cat asked. Well, we had a small argument. Not a quarrel, you understand? Just an argument, and Compare Rabbit spat on me. Right away, I turned into what I am now, a mere shadow of my old self. You remember me, CompereTigercat? How fat I was and how strong. Yet only yesterday, I had this argument with Compare Rabbit, and look, a meager worm-eaten bear, that's what I am. CompereTigercat stared at the dare and he trembled. He shook with fright and his teeth chattered and his eyes grew as large as saucers. Compare Rabbit did that? He asked. The dare nodded. CompereTigercat ran inside the house and bolted the door. Compare Rabbit ran quickly down the street to his own home, where he ripped off the old dare skin, bathed and dressed himself, and sat down on the front door, smoking a pipe. Sat down on the front doorstep, smoking a pipe. After a little while, who should come hurrying up the road but CompereTigercat? Good morning, Compare Rabbit, he said, bowing from the waist and tipping his hat. Good morning, CompereTigercat, said Rabbit. I'm on my way to the shop down the road, continued the Tiger Cat. Why don't you come with me and have a large glass of cold beer? It's such a hot day today. Why, certainly, CompereTigercat. I'm always willing to take a glass of beer, and it is a hot day. Just let me get my hat and walking stick. He ducked in to get these and came out looking as spruce as ever. Let's go, Tiger Cat, he said, and off they went. When they got to the shop, CompereTigercat put his hat on the table and ordered 2 pints of cold beer. He said, chin chin and cheerio, and tipped his froth-topped bear mug to Compare Rabbit and said, here's to a long and happy friendship, Compare Rabbit. We have our problems, but everything usually works out well with us, doesn't it? If anyone ever tells you that I hold a grudge against you, or that I don't like you, he's a liar and will answer to me. I think you're the nicest person I know. Compare Rabbit only laughed to himself and ordered another pint of beer. He was thinking of the rotten goat skin and deer skin that he had buried in his yard a little while ago, and how his use of them had made CompereTigercat change his tune from a growl to a purr. Crick, crack, the end. That was CompereTigercat changes his tune. I hope you enjoyed this story. This is 9 Folk Tales, publication by the Ministry of Education, Trinidad and Tobago, 1968. Malaika from Waterwheel Creations, doing what I love, loving what I do, voicing our world. Stay tuned for another story and next time.